is up, guys? So this is a new segment that we're trying. This is a segment where essentially I'm going to react to a paranormal investigator. This one happens to be, I think her name is Kris Star. That's her name. So I'm not picking on her as an individual. I'm not saying that everything that they say and do is fake or anything like that. What primarily I'm doing is basically just giving you guys like kind of like an inside perspective on these. And this is a new segment that we're going to try to do at least once a week. So you'll still get the main video on Saturdays, but we're going to try to do these videos essentially once a week. So without further ado, let me grab my headphones here. And we will try to see exactly what's going on here. So let me do that. And all right, so basically to give you guys kind of a scoop on this, so she and a supposed psychic medium went to basically the real Annabell doll, which is in the Warrens Museum. If you guys want extra information on the Warrens, we'll try to link our podcast that we did to this video, so you guys can kind of understand like where we're coming from as far as Endler and Warren. There's a lot of things that we just don't agree with, and they weren't the people that a lot of people thought they were. So with that being said, let's get this video rolling.
Here at the Warren Occultic Museum in Connecticut to meet the real-life Annabell doll, along with many other haunted and cursed objects. You may have seen her on the Conjuring series.
Won't get home. Demon Ed can see.
Should we open the case?
It goes open.
All right, so what they're doing right here, basically is called what's called a bullpit, and some evangelical churches and some New Apostolic Reformation churches do this. They have somebody basically in the front, basically agreeing with every single thing that the person says. And what they're doing here is they're basically trying to give you like a preview of what happened, but simultaneously they're trying to reduce your cognitive understanding by doing this type of a thing. And so already within the first 5 to 10 minutes, a good majority of people are going to believe every single word that they say. And it's not everybody, it's not all the time. Not every person does this, but a good majority of them do. And this is a clear manipulation tactic that almost everybody within the paranormal world actually does. So again, I'm not picking on her specifically. I'm not picking on her friend that she has here. I'm just simply stating the fact of this is generally how it works. Okay, so in the name of Jesus Christ, back away. Also, not how entirely it works. And those that don't know, this is the real Annabell doll. Like, this is the one that all the stories are based off of. So, that being said, just understand they don't even get to this until the last, like, probably 10, 15, 20 minutes. And this video is an hour and 3 minutes, so we'll try to cover as much as what we can. But understand there's going to be a lot. So, Lydia and I have already watched this video, and so I'm not going to try to extend it as that much. So I'll at this point stop it when I feel like it's necessary for me to say something. So here we go.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Kris Star here. I am joined tonight by my bestie, Kelsey Davies. How are we feeling to be meeting the real life Annabell doll?
I'm scared. I'm nervous.
What was it?
If you're scared, why are you doing it? I often ask that question. If people are so scared, why are they doing it? You know, like, that doesn't make any sense when you're trying to use logic and reason. So, but anyways.
Like when you first walked up to the door.
It just felt very, very heavy. And then we had a dizzy spell when we walked in, and I almost got so disoriented I had to walk outside. Kris, then she looked at me. She was like, you felt that too? So we felt the...
You're going to hear a lot of this to where they're like, oh, I felt something weird. Okay, well, it's September now, but I want you to think about this for a second. If you are extremely hot, right, outside, and then you go into a cooler building, which clearly they're running AC, you can have those feelings. In fact, I've had that almost every single time I've walked outside. That's not really paranormal at all, as a matter of fact.
The same thing, which
We
was
both walked
crazy.
out together, and then Kris, who is a member of Nesper, he was about to walk in, and he heard a growl, and
he's a little bit, you know,
he's
on
a
the
skeptic.
skeptical side.
He's a skeptic, but that's great because we want the balance. So we're already off to a crazy start. So let's walk on in and see what vibes we pick up on. Let me know down below in the comments what you guys are picking up on and how you feel about the Annabell doll. So
I don't, because it's a doll.
we are about to head into the Warren Occultic Museum. I have to say, this is a dream of mine. I have been a huge, well, actually, I should say that Ed and Lorraine Warren were my idols when I was 7, 8 years old.
She's not looking very high, I promise you guys. The podcast that we did on Ed and Lorraine Warren, if she actually knew the truth, she wouldn't see them as idols. In fact, they're mere humans. The Warrens themselves had a bunch of theological inconsistencies. Ed Warren claimed a bunch of different things that he was when he was never any of that in the church. The list goes on and on and on, guys. So with that being said, just take that with a grain of salt as far as the Warrens are concerned, and as far as how much he looks up to them, because again, I'm not so sure I would say that they were an idol by any means. Yeah, so just a food for thought there.
A lot of people didn't know who they were back then, but I did, because you already know your girl was. I was all into all the ghosts. My house is haunted. I grew up in a haunted house, and I was obsessed
That doesn't make you an expert, I promise.
with paranormal research, so it is an honor to be here. So thank you to everybody from Nesper for allowing me to be here. Tony, Kris, Dan, and Wade. All right, let's go on in. You see that dizzy feeling?
Remember the vibes, guys. Remember the vibes.
Every time.
It's over here. Is this the shadow doll?
Yes.
Okay, it's something with this for sure. Now let's see if we can find Annabell.
Yeah, it's so exciting looking for an inanimate object such as a doll that is all supposeds. And I'm going to point something out when they actually get over there. And I want you guys to just think about what I'm about to say with that, all right? So, again, let's get back to it here.
You guys found her. And there she is. In the flesh. Hey, Annabell.
All right, I want you guys to look at something on this image, okay? Clearly, there is some weird stuff here. So when they walked in, notice how the locks are not locked. They're going to make a comment about that later on, about, I could have sworn we had it locked. That doesn't really matter. Again, like, that's kind of a dumb statement to say for me. But look at the door, okay? I actually explained this to Lydia. If you guys can't tell what's on the door, that actually is a tarot card. And it's not just any tarot card. It's a Baphomet tarot card, okay? So, a house divided will not stand. That's scriptured. We can stand on that. We can believe that. So, essentially, they're basically trying to do a double negative here. They're trying to say that that is a demon, but why would they, at the same time, put a tarot card of Baphomet on the door? Okay, that makes no sense. And when the guy starts talking about it later in the video, I'll wait until he actually finishes his whole little spiel and kind of tell you how I don't think any of this is really accurate. So I'm just gonna play it for a while, and like I said, we'll interject where we need to.
I hope it's okay that we're here. Warning, positively do not touch. So she has been sealed in this box for decades, and it was Ed and Lorraine Warren's wishes that she not be disturbed. but Ed did want the demon himself to be shown.
He never said that. And I know that because we've done research on it. Never once did he said that. And in fact, if he said that, why is the door unlocked? Think about that.
And that is why it is still on display. Oh my God, bro. Tell me you heard that. Why did that also sound like why did that sound like a growl?
It did.
Of course we can't hear it on the camera because, you know, any little sound that they supposedly hear, it's just hearsay. You know, we're not there, and there's a lot of things can sound like a growl. For instance, I just said, as we open, that there's probably an AC inside of there. Sometimes when an AC kicks on, it makes a growl noise. Again, not paranormal.
Because there's no like thunder outside. It sounded like thunder almost.
No. There is no thunder. It's not raining. And it's interesting because Kris, who's the skeptic, also said that he heard a growl before. So I wonder if my camera picked that up. Let me know if you guys heard that. So let's see Annabell. She's wearing a cute little bracelet. It says Anne. It's 3 feet tall.
Yeah, there's a really large Raggedy Ann doll.
That's how they used to make them, guys.
Right by that dark shadow doll.
Oh, that's where I saw it earlier. Went this way.
Oh, that's right. Kelsey actually saw something over here earlier before when we just like peeked our heads in, and it went this way, and I saw the sign that said black magic witchcraft items. Yeah. But if you
Okay, and that's relevant. Why?
come over here, we have the black shadow doll, and this is where I feel some really heavy energy. It's like,
All right, so disclaimer alert. These two women, though again, I'm not trying to disrespect them, they say the word energy. I kid you not so many times that if you actually listen to this and start a drinking game, you will be completely drunk within 5 minutes. Okay? That's Lydia laughing in the background. She's listening in. But yeah, so...
Sorry.
Guys, look. It's not about vibes. It's not about feelings. Those are all called metaphysics, okay? And your metaphysics are determined by the reality that you believe in. All right, so I'm going to try to make this as short as possible. So the reality that you believe in essentially has to come from outside of yourself. So she's revealing her worldview without even saying it. And so when she says these types of things, it's going to be really hard for me to not make a comment continuously. But I'll do my best. Again, this is our first reaction video. We don't know what to expect really, but yeah, just know that she says like something about energy or feelings or emotions the whole entire hour, and it's just now starting, okay? So again, just pay attention to what she's saying versus what I just told you, how this is a byproduct of your worldview. This is a byproduct of the reality and the doctrine that you believe in. All right, let's get back to it.
upon walking in, it's immediate.
That dizzy spell I had happened was right when I was standing here. What the heck is that?
Again, that could be a vent. Seriously, going from hot to cold, I know several people that get dizzy spells, okay? I do. Lydia does. A whole bunch of people get dizzy spells when they go from hot to cold or cold to hot. It's not paranormal.
So Kelsey did mention that there are some entities here that like to taunt the other
Of course there is.
energies. So I guess we'll find out tonight who those entities are and if they want to come out and play. So let's go grab our gear and get this night going. If you didn't know, now you know. Kelsey Davies and I will be at Paracon in Gettysburg, one of my favorite places, from September 27th.
All right, I'm going to fast forward through this, guys. This is not...
So come out and meet us. I will have...
All right, I'm going to pick it up a couple minutes later, so
It's kind of
here we
funny
go.
that we had that in here because if you
So this guy apparently is like a caretaker of the place or something. He doesn't really say a story, but he supposedly knows everything about everything in there, which you clearly start to see that he doesn't. He's literally just making up the story as he goes. And of course they believe every single word that he says because, well, he worked with the Warrens. And so like apparently that's like there's no lies or untruths that can come from the Warrens. And the skull that he's talking about, in 90% of the stuff in here, guys, is literally just Halloween props. I'm not lying. They're going to talk about Mass in a few minutes, and they literally spend half of the night talking about Mass, and then they spend the other half of the night talking about something that they don't even know the full facts to. So, again, let's continue here.
You know the Conjuring movies. The first investigators in the Conjuring house was Keith Johnson and Carl Johnson. But this skull belonged to Carl Johnson, and he practiced, with satanic rituals as well. And he used to drink wine out of the skull. But so Ed helped them. I guess they were having activity in their house. They called Ed to come over.
Okay, so they were Satanists having activity in their house. Do you understand the logic there? Because I don't. Why on earth would you say you're having activity in the house if you're a known Satanist? Like, what is that? Why would you say that? It makes no sense. Use logic, guys. This isn't hard.
For Ed and Lorraine to come over and help them. So Ed ended up with this skull. From the Brookfield murder case, Arnie Johnson, David Glasso, with this.
Okay, this object right here, they are going to spend literally like 30 minutes on, and he doesn't even know the full story. And what's even more hilarious is they did a whole documentary on this on YouTube. Or not on YouTube, I'm sorry. It was on Netflix. A whole documentary on Netflix. But when they go back to that, I will tell you the truth behind this object that he's basically pointing out. And what he points out versus what the actual truth is not even remotely close.
This was David Glasso's dinosaur, and it was known to crawl around the house and tell everyone in the house that you're all gonna die. And
not according to the family.
And these rosaries, Debbie Johnson, David Glasso's sister, gave me these rosaries for my protection. So when I go on the case, I will have these with me.
Someone breathing in my ear.
You know,
It was
it's crazy. We heard what we thought a growl coming from back there before.
And there is a lot of activity in that corner. And it's kind
Sure
of
there is.
that
Gee, I wonder why. I don't know. They have a supposedly an evil doll back there, and they have a bunch of evil stuff, and yet they're complaining that they're hearing things and seeing things. Again, there's no logic here, guys. As far as, theological, and as far as just every aspect of philosophy, there's nothing there. So, again, like, this guy is pretty much just hyping the place up. He's not really saying anything factual, okay? Because if it was factual, they would have some documentation behind it. Most of this stuff doesn't have any real documentation behind it.
jumps from there to the shadow realm, and it plays games with you.
Right.
But after 9 p.m., it does get active in here.
And
Of course it does.
Approximately 8:11. And look at me.
Ooh.
This right here is the prop they used in Annabell Comes Home. This is the actual doll they used in the movie. So by this doll being in the museum, we've gotten activity from this doll.
Really? A prop from a movie, and they're saying they get activity from it? Really? Come on. You guys can't possibly believe this.
I still know if it's absorbing all the energy from this music.
Oh, there's our trigger word, energy. Now you got the guy. Now you got the dude saying it.
Probably just an open vessel that they can utilize.
Right.
All right, so let me explain open vessels, or how occultists and people from the New Age understand vessels. And this is a loosely based theology that they try to use, and again, it's not based on any real facts. So when they say an open vessel, what they're basically saying is that anything supernatural. So as Christians, again, we have a category for this. Everything that we believe, as far as supernatural or paranormal, if you want to say it that way, has a base, and it's in Scripture. Every one of these types of scenarios are in Scripture in some capacity. Now, when it comes to being an open vessel, what they're basically saying is that basically your soul is able to allow other things to come in. Well, first of all, I have an issue with that. My first issue, that would mean that you're being possessed at that point. My second issue is that there is a lot of cultures that believe that dolls are that. So it's kind of like, okay, well, where are you going with this conversation? Because if you have any type of reality, you know that you can't, technically speaking, have that happen. But you also can't serve two masters. You're either going to serve Christ, or you're going to serve your one true father, Satan. A house divided will not stand. I know I've said that already, but when you use these terminologies, they don't mean how they're saying it, okay? Because they're essentially saying that anything supernatural or spiritual can come into your body and use it. That's just not reality, okay? Yes, when you talk about exorcisms and stuff like that, yes, that stuff is real, okay? But the way that they hype it up and the way that they talk about it is not the real definition of it. So, again, keep that in mind as we continue.
Right, and this shouldn't be open.
Oh, and it's open.
I don't know, it wasn't open when I put
Oh,
it in there.
geez, imagine that.
Jeez, guys, this case.
Imagine that. The case is open. Oh, and we already pointed out that the other stupid cage, or the little box thing that Annabelle's in, was also unlocked. And he's going to make the same statement.
This is open.
Watch.
So we
So-
believe that this doll is acting as an open vessel for all of the entities and spirits that are here in the museum.
So Ed,
Which are none.
Lorraine, they were artists. Before they got into the paranormal, this was their art studio. So they would come here and do their barnwood paintings. Is what they love to do. And
All right, so let me clear this up real quick. So yes, Ed and Lorraine Warren were artists. That is absolutely right. They were both actually failing artists. So what you're seeing here is like an example of what they did, but this is actually what happened. Okay, in any given case, except for one, and I'm not even going to speak of that case. Ed and Lorraine Warren would essentially go by these different places, okay, that supposedly were haunted. They didn't even know if they were, but supposedly they were haunted, or they had a weird history or dark history, and they would paint it. And then what they did, and this is never talked about, and why I have no idea, they walked up to the door and knocked on the door and said, "Hey, we painted your house. If you like this painting, can we come inside?" And they would literally pretty much force themselves inside the house. That was actually what happened, okay? With the Conjuring House and with several other cases that they did, they literally forced themselves into the house. If you don't believe me, look it up.
and started painting pictures of houses. And
He painted that one up there?
all of her
That
heads.
is so neat.
And you have the shrunken head up there.
Is that a real one? Or?
That's a real one.
Ooh, that's some.
Of course it is, because, Ed and Lorraine Warren never took props and other things from other places.
Ancient energy right there.
Oh yeah.
Sure, sure.
Look to the pictures over here, and all these items were used in satanic rituals. And then
Where's your evidence? Where's your proof? If you just say satanic rituals to a person like me who actually does a deep dive into their actual understanding, that's not enough. So, again, he really doesn't know, if you want my honesty, where half of this stuff came from. He's just revealing what he actually, what all he knows, basically. So, again, keep that in mind.
they'll be in the forest doing their, blood rituals,
They're all like naked.
fertility rituals.
How?
Okay, so let me explain something about that time in history. So the only time, basically throughout the 1800s, mainly by, I would say probably 1820 to the turn of the century, the only picture that most people would get is a post-mortem picture. That was just something that they did in the time frame to remember them by. I'm guessing most of those pictures that he's referring to, that he's saying were ritualistic, were in fact just post-mortem pictures. Because I don't, and again, it's blurry. They didn't get close enough to even see what was in the pictures, but that's what I'm guessing it probably is.
Oh my goodness, what's that one in the corner?
That was they were doing a fertility ritual. Was it there?
You weren't there, Dan?
But they were
No?
they were
Of course
trying
not.
hard.
Why would he know anything?
About 3-4 years ago, the person.
Okay, you all see that sword right there? Do you see it? This actually really angered me the first time I watched this. That very sword, I actually own. I own basically the gold and silver and red edition of that, but I physically own that. If y'all want to see me pull it out of the closet, I'd be more than happy to and show you the fact that what that is not what he's saying. It's just a cool prop that they wanted to put in there.
That received it was getting a lot of bad luck. He contacted us and said, "Hey, can you take this sword from us?" And we believe this sword was created to be used in satanic rituals.
No, it wasn't. That sword is basically in a fantasy. So there's different sword categories, right? So I used to be a sword collector, and I liked fantasy swords. So there was actually a plaque that I had, that very sword, like I said, up on a plaque in my room for years. And there's nothing to it, honestly. It's literally just a fantasy sword. This is why I know that he's talking out of his butt at this point, okay? Because he's trying to say something about a particular object, but he knows nothing about it. Again, how can I make this any more clear for you guys?
The reason why I say that is so over here, we have the Satanic Bible, but there's also a sword with it as well that was used in rituals.
And I also have one similar to that. I have a dagger that's very similar to that in nature. Again, if you guys want to see it, I'll pull it out, but come on, guy.
Sword, what they'll do is they'll take this and slice the throat of a young child, and then they'll drink their blood. And the blood.
Okay, where's your references for that? Do you have any actual proof? Do you have evidence that that's what they did? Yeah, that's awful, and yeah, that still happens within the occultic world. But the way that he's saying it and just how casually he's saying it, no, I don't believe him for 1 minute. Only because why would you want to have that? If it was truly used for what they think it was used for, okay. Well, here's another thing. There should be really residual blood on it. So why don't you go down to the local police station, bring that with you and say, hey, I want to check this for traces of blood. And if it was, well, guess what? That's a criminal act. And those people should be thrown in jail and never seen the light of day again, if that's the truth. So again, obviously that's not the truth, because it wouldn't be sitting in that museum if they actually used it for that manner.
Blood of a young child will give them strength and power. That's what they believe.
Because it's the most innocent and pure, right?
Exactly.
You hear about that a lot.
Okay, let me give you a biblical example for this, and I'll try to let it play a little bit more. Sorry, guys, it's just, there's a lot in this particular video. So there was ritualistic sacrifice, okay, that we can actually see in Scripture. One of them was Baal. Another one was Ashereth, okay? And these gods were fertility gods. Ashereth was the wife of Baal. And so in the Bible, in Scripture, Elijah basically put those gods to the test. And if you guys want to read the whole account, please go ahead. It's in Elijah. But I'm just going to kind of give you a basic summary here, and I'll do this as quickly as possible. So essentially, Elijah took on all of the priests of Baal, okay? And it basically was kind of like the final countdown. They would do something, and basically nothing, there was no outcome to it. He would do something and would just completely, the one true God, Yahweh, basically obliterated the competition. And again, I'm paraphrasing a lot here, but the sole purpose of that was they were fertility gods. So they believed that sacrificing an innocent child was the way to fertility. And clearly that's just messed up, but it's still going on today, with the abortion issue. So nothing new is under the sun. This stuff is still going on, but again, he's just casually saying this stuff. And if it was really used in a sacrifice of some kind, then you need to actually see if there's blood residue on it. And at that point, it is a weapon that was used for a crime. I'm sorry, but just no. The way that, again, like the way that he's casually talking through this, no. I'm sorry, but no.
A lot, and like even in Hollywood and stuff, they always talk about for their conspiracies and stuff about the elite.
I could say there's
Those are not conspiracies, by the way.
something to it, and but we don't have the proof.
Right, yeah, there's a lot of dark.
Oh, so he just told on himself. They don't have any proof. So why are you even talking about it then?
There's a lot of darkness out there. And here we go. Over
The
here.
one and only.
I'm not even going there. I'm not even going to look at it.
Okay.
That's the fire doll.
Oh my god, what did I say when we were driving here?
He said, was there something with the fire? I said, I have no idea.
This doll has a story. Well, we've gotten from
Everything in there supposedly has a story. That's why he keeps doing this over and over and over again. Again, take this with a grain of salt, guys, because this guy that doesn't know all the facts is trying to tell you the story.
This doll, she wants to tell her story. And we didn't know much about it. We know that it was given to the Warrens back in the late 70s. But during an investigation that we had with the overnight crew, come to find out, they did some research because of what we were getting. We're getting all these names. And it matched to a story out Midwest of a family that died in the fire. Was actually, they were murdered. And
did they die or did they get murdered? Which one is it? That's a contradiction. So if they were murdered, then start the story with they were murdered. If they were in a fire and they died in the fire, okay, then they died in the fire. That's two different presuppositions there. So which is it?
I believe that's the fire doll that was in the house. It was the only thing that survived. And then we got this doll here, Annabell.
Annabell who?
Tell me, what was going on when everybody thought Annabell escaped? What was the deal with that?
You know, that was an actress named Annabell. Actually,
Okay, wait for it. You remember how I said earlier in the video that it was unlocked? Wait for it, because it's coming now.
I mean, everybody thought it was the actress. I think Tom Cruise was making a joke about her. I guess it got through the lines through China, and China sent out a big, what's called memo out that Annabell escapes. So everybody not thinking, okay, it wasn't the actress, but they thought it was this doll, Annabell.
If that's the case, why didn't we see it in the news? Come on, guys. Why did we not see this on a public news channel in any kind? You know, if they're saying it as big as what they are, why didn't we hear anything about it?
She escaped.
I thought it was like a big marketing strategy.
I
was
did
like,
too.
No, you know, that was smart, but that had nothing to do with us.
Oh, okay.
You know, here's another thing. These were locked.
See? And now he finally looks at it after spending the last 2 minutes and 30 seconds talking about a dumb story that nobody even knows the real truth about. He now looks at the case and says, oh, it's unlocked. Okay, well, it was locked at the very beginning when they were in there. So was the other Annabell doll. They were both unlocked. Like, okay. But then they're saying, oh, don't touch it. Then why was it unlocked? You see the inconsistency in the story here? I'm just trying to point this out, guys, because, again, this is just dumb. It's dumb. You know, and again, I'm not calling him dumb. I'm not calling anybody else, but, like, this act of saying, oh, well, it was unlocked, and now I need to quickly lock it. What we saw that it was unlocked at the beginning of the video. Again, like, I don't understand, like, why this is a big deal. Anyways.
And I don't know why.
And again, you hear the reaction.
Yeah, so no one is allowed to touch this at all, guys. The case has somehow unlocked itself.
So, yeah, we always keep the case.
I'm sorry, but no case unlocks itself. If you think that's the case, then you must have you must be taking different drugs than I'm not taking or something. Do they understand how ridiculous that sounds? Oh, the case unlocked itself. Then why were both of them unlocked?
Case locked, unless I open it and take the doll out, or I'm doing repairs to the case. I created this case, and people say, why did you create this case? Well, the museum was closed to the public, so we wanted to keep their legacy alive by taking these items out to the public and educating the public. Still, like Ed and Lorraine did. So I created.
Did they really though? Again, listen to our podcast on Ed, Lorraine, Warren. I will try to put the podcast onto this, but oh my gosh, guy, like that's no. They didn't educate. They were special people. There's a statement that we say in the South, bless their little heart. That has like 5 different meanings. The version of it that I'm using is not the nice version.
This case, similar to Ed's case, but what I did is I added 3 crosses that represents the Trinity, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Okay.
And behind Annabell, behind the felt, inscribed in the walls, is the Lord's Prayer. And the stain I fused it with.
Okay, if you're not supposed to touch it, why is he touching the case right now? Think about that. Why is he touching the case if it says, warning, positively do not touch?
Holy water, holy oil.
Oh, smart.
So the whole thing is infused with holy.
So if you're Catholic, that makes sense, but me being a Reformed Baptist, that makes absolutely no sense because we don't believe that that is in fact needed. We believe that it's the church's responsibility as a whole, and we don't have such things within the church that are considered holy outside of the scripture and the sacraments. That's it. So I personally don't really understand why he's saying this because it's not really relevant to what they're doing, and they don't believe it, and I'll explain why a little bit later.
Through God to protect us when we view this item here. Yes.
Okay, why would you need protection to look at a doll? Think about that.
There's activity with the doll, but when we use religious prayers and writing rituals, it contains it, but there is activity. I'm not going to lie. And people,
of course there is.
Through their EVPs, they hear voices. Through any of your devices, your MPOS will go off like crazy in here. These gloves right here, Wade made these gloves for me, because every time I handle that doll, I'll get into a car accident or something weird will happen.
Sure. Or it just could be that you have no idea what the actual understanding of preservation of life is. And so that's how accidents happen on the road, guys. I ride motorcycles all the time, okay? Here lately I haven't been because I've been having a lot of health issues, as you guys know. But all of us, whether you're a believer or not, should have the understanding of preservation of life. It's when you think that your life is more important than the other person on the road, that's when accidents happen. So for him to try to say that the accidents happen because of this random doll that's in a case, I find that really hard to believe. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Because if you had a foundation in scripture, you would understand that, okay, well, maybe the accidents happen, one, because God is trying to show me something and trying to sanctify me through a certain sense. Yeah, so that statement just doesn't make any sense. It's not relevant to anything that they're doing. It's not even relevant to the actual story. So
something did happen with a motorcyclist who visited.
Yeah.
And here we go. They're going to talk about a motorcycle story. So supposedly this guy was taunting a doll. And I'm going to give you my version of this first. So he was tapping on the glass, be like, "Hey, Annabell, I don't believe in you, blah, 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 blah," talking crap, as a lot of alpha males do. And supposedly when he left, he got into a severe a motorcycle accident and died. But again, if there's no preservation of life, I mean, they're literally trying to. So at this point, basically, there's a special name for this. They're trying to control the narrative. Okay, so he's narrating possibilities, and he's trying to get these two girls to believe that narrative. And then they continue a narrative that they don't fully know about or understand. And so most of these paranormal investigation shows, that's what they do. They control the narrative, and by controlling the narrative, they're able to basically manipulate you. Sorry, guys, I'm having a hard time today. They're trying to manipulate you, and in that manipulation is when you have a false understanding and a false belief system in any given thing. Okay, so understand that that's what's happening here. And no, that wasn't paranormal. That was Lydia just sneaking out.
There was a guy that came in here back in the early 80s with his girlfriend. Ed was doing a tour around the museum. This guy comes up to the glass and he starts knocking on the glass and saying, "Hey, if you're real, put scratches on me." Ed saw that, told the guy, "Say, look, son, you're gonna have to leave." The guy left on a motorcycle with his girlfriend. Half an hour later, he's dead. Died in a motorcycle accident.
Okay. Again, controlling the narrative, and then they're going to respond to that narrative. Watch this.
Also reading that the girlfriend said right before they crashed, they were actually laughing about the doll.
They were laughing about the doll. I mean, and then, like I said, there was a priest that came in here, with a doll across the room.
So that face right there, that's them reacting to the narrative, and now they're going to continue that narrative as the night goes on. So they already had a narrative that they were using, but now they changed the narrative and changed the approach as the whole entire investigation based off of this narrative. So that face is trying to get you to have an emotional response to it, and almost every single paranormal investigator that I've seen does this. They make this type of face, so it's trying to get you to understand the shock and the surprise. But again, the motorcycle accident more than likely has nothing to do with the doll. They just, again, it's a narrative.
He just bought a new car and told the father, you shouldn't have done that. When he left, he got into a car accident. So, you know, this doll is just cursed. You attack.
How? How is it cursed? Give us evidence as to how it's cursed. The real evidence, not that and Lorraine stuff. But again, like, even how they got the doll, it's not paranormal. Like, none of what he said I would contribute to being paranormal. Okay? If a guy is riding a motorcycle, you know, there's so many different things that could have happened. He could have been taking a turn too fast and catch a wave that a tush can't catch. And there's high side, low side. I mean, like, all they're saying is, oh, well, people get into accidents. Okay, well, people get into accidents without having a doll involved all the time. So, again, why is that important for the narrative that you're trying to say? And again, they just continue this narrative.
Tend to challenge it or do harm to you.
We're not challenging you, Annabell.
No.
But they do. They do challenge Annabell. She's actually lying through her teeth when she says that, because as the night goes on, they do actually challenge.
And we won't allow it, you know.
I am wearing a protection sigil that has all 5 of the angels' names in Hebrew.
Okay. So, she's wearing a sigil. Now let me explain where sigils generally are coming from. Sigils are generally coming from the Greater and Lesser Key of Solomon, and basically one of the people that was involved in the creating of that was Aleister Crowley. So again, like, a sigil doesn't protect you. Even if it's got supposed angelic names on it, it doesn't protect you. It's something that, if you were really truly a believer in Jesus Christ and part of a true church, you would realize that none of that is necessary. See, I wear a cross only because I remind myself daily of what I came out of. It's not to tell people I'm a Christian. It's not to show anything other than the fact that it's a personal reminder to me. So, again, that's not going to help you in this situation. That's not going to protect you in this situation. All that is basically a trinket that basically it's an emotional trinket. And all it's doing is basically saying, yeah, I believe that, you know, I could possibly need protection. But again, a sigil is demonic in nature. So how is something demonic going to help you in this situation? Again, a house divided does not going to stand. She just revealed the fact that she is not a believer. Okay? I want you to understand that, because as the night goes on, you'll understand why that's really, really important.
Yeah, and I always bring one of my medals. I have the medal Lorraine gave me, up high field, and I always wear it. So
again, just a trinket.
Those are the stories of the museum. Be careful when you're investigating. Be respectful, because these items are not going to respect you. This right here, I'll let you guys walk down here. This is the haunted passageway, and it leads all the way back to the house.
Haunted house and ghosties. All the spider webs. So this is the original passageway that would lead to the museum.
Right, the haunted passageway.
The haunted passage.
Supposedly. Again, the Warren set this up to basically mess with your metaphysics. Okay, the way that they did this was intentional. They wanted to basically be in a situation, right, to where you can emotionally respond in some capacity to anything that, from that hallway into the museum, they wanted you to respond to. So again, it's not paranormal. If you understand metaphysics and you understand philosophy, you really understand as to that none of this is truly showing the fact that, one, ghosts exist, and two, that it really is just an emotional response that you're going to have. Even when stuff starts to go off, I'll point that out. But yeah, it's just an emotional response. That's the way that they did it. Because you would first have to basically go through their house, and again, like, this was just a personal collection that they had. They didn't make it open to the public until well after Ed passed. So take that how you want it.
So can you believe these were all Ed's paintings? Like, he's drawing what looks like apparitions almost. What Lorraine saw, right?
Right.
He would draw what Lorraine would see.
And we would get activity in this hallway too. So if you're in here by yourself, if you're doing like EVPs, you get some stuff. I mean,
Those of you that don't know what EVP are, they're electronic voice phenomenon. I have a real issue with this as well. I don't know if they show it in this one, but I'll wait for another video to explain that, because I have a lot to say about how they do that. I don't think they do it that way in this one, if I remember correctly. But yeah, basically the theory is that you have a recorder. Generally speaking, most of them use recorders essentially from the early 2000s, which has white noise on it, and basically they tell you what they hear and then they put it on the screen, and again, it's a manipulation tactic. Generally speaking, all that's there is white noise. I don't think they do that in this particular episode, but nevertheless, that's what an EVP is.
So this passageway leads to Ed and Lorraine Warren's house, which is so cool. Okay guys, so we are starting with the shadow doll, and actually...
Okay, so that little device that they have sitting on top of that case, that is a what's called a REM pod. Don't ask me what it means, I can't remember what it means, but basically what it does is it picks up EMF. Now, if you guys have been following our YouTube channel for the past couple of weeks, we've explained how these don't really function the way that they try to use them. And so the theory is that there's an electromagnetic force around it. Well, okay, I want you to think about this. They have it literally on top of a case. There's a light in that case, right? So anything that has electricity has a magnetic field. Every battery has a positive and negative. Friction causes a magnetic field. Any type of frequency causes a magnetic field. So that the placement of that REM pod is literally going to continue to go off at random, and that's because I'm guessing there's several lights in the room that are within a couple of feet or a couple of inches away from it, which is allowing it to keep going off. So again, like, this is a flawed scientific experiment, because all it's doing is picking up on electricity and frequencies throughout the room. So I don't see that as scientific evidence whatsoever.
I saw a shadow figure in between this, and what was this guy called back here again?
The Satanic Idol.
The Satanic Idol.
Wow, that's original. Satanic Idol. Okay.
We have the REM pod going up there. We also have a music box that is in the back that is facing the Annabelle dolls on the floor. And we begin the night, guys. So Amy's Crypt created a app called Ghost Tube Box. I'll leave a link down below.
Alright, so we are now 15 minutes into this episode. 15 minutes and 45 seconds to be exact. And they're just now getting into the investigation. Just now. They're getting into the investigation. After they've already messed with your metaphysics, they messed with your understanding, they messed with your philosophical reasoning. And so basically, now that they have you buttered up for the first 15 minutes, now they're actually going to go through the actual experimentations and trying to prove that something is there when more than likely there isn't. It's just every single one that I've watched, the first 15 to almost 20 minutes is manipulation tactics and storytelling, and then they create a narrative, and then they change the narrative, and then they want you to believe the new narrative. I mean, it's just... Anyways, let's just keep going, because yeah, this is not pleasant for me.
Shout out to our girl, Amy's Crypt. She's awesome.
All right. Hello.
Okay, the second woman that's here in the tank top, she has another channel. I forget what her channel is called right now, but she's basically says that she's a psychic medium. She does what's called automatic writing. Okay, you cannot be a Christian if you're an automatic writer and or a speaker to spirits like this. It doesn't work like that. If you guys want me to go into a really deep dive into that, I'd be more than happy to. But for the sake of time, she basically is a self-proclaimed psychic, and she does automatic writing, and she's going to say a lot of nonsensical things in this, and as well as the... I forget her name already. Sorry. At any rate, they're both going to start saying stuff that just either it makes sense or it doesn't. So, again.
Nice to meet everyone. Sit back. So that just...
Okay, so you remember what I said about they're going to have stuff playing, whether it's a EVP or whether it's a voice box thing? This is what I'm talking about. It may sound like absolutely nothing to the average person, but they put what they think it says on screen, so it's giving you a subliminal message within your mind and reducing your metaphysical understanding to agree naturally with anything that they say. That's how this works.
I think that said get back.
As you put it down next to the skull.
I did. I put the ghost app down next to the satanic skull. My name is Kris. This is Kelsey.
Kris and Kelsey. Sorry, guys. I forgot their name. Kris and Kelsey. Okay.
Hello, everyone and everything here.
We'd love to come. I mean, you guys know why we're here. We're here to just give you a voice. All right. Yep.
And we gave him...
All right. Perfect example. Look where the REM pod is and what's next to it and what's under it. It literally has a light less than 3 feet away from the sensor. And you're wondering why it's going off? Just saying.
a voice.
Thank you. I would love to see if we can speak with maybe whatever's with this or the woman that came forward to me.
That's another trigger word. They use this term to basically say that there's multiple entities in a room. Coming forward is their version of, oh, well, why don't you get closer to me and talk to me personally? It's misused in a lot of different ways, but a lot of psychic mediums have a tendency to use that type of verbiage. Again, like, it's just one of those trigger words. So anytime I hear it, now that I've made that disclaimer, I'm not really going to stop it every time she says it, because she says it multiple times, just like the other word that you're going to see used like 150 times. So
this is the satanic idol. They use that for satanic rituals, and the shadow
supposedly.
doll, and before I did see a shadow in between both of them.
Right.
But as soon as we walked in, we were like super busy, which is crazy. I think that's
the
just
camera.
the camera.
I think for this thing we have to like stop talking.
Tell me you heard that on the rug. It sounded like something like scraping against the rug.
Yeah, I was like,
Who specifically would like to come through tonight?
okay, again, did you guys hear that noise? Because I didn't hear a noise. Again, this is just one of those tactics that's used to try to make you think and believe with them that something is there. It's not really paranormal in nature. I know if I'm speaking for myself, if I'm in a place that I've never been before and I'm essentially potentially putting myself in danger being there, I'm going to be extremely paranoid, and I'm going to have my head on a swivel the whole time. So every little noise is going to have you react a certain way. I can cover some of the if you guys, again, let me know in the comments if you guys want to have me cover that obviously in a different, like this type of series. There's a couple of people that I absolutely love watching just because I love their reactions to stuff. But they also, these particular guys they don't claim ever to be paranormal investigators like these guys do. So again, I'm just trying to give you guys the understanding of what's going on in each scene, because that's really important for us to know, because I don't want to be manipulated. I'm pretty sure none of you want to be manipulated, but again, it's a manipulation tactic, whether they're aware of it or not. Okay, they're using certain trigger words, they're using certain verbiage, and they're having certain natural reactions that's causing you to try to believe them. It's not always an active thing that it is. Sometimes it's a retroactive thing. That's probably not the right word, but essentially what they're doing is trying to manipulate you to believe them. This is not uncommon to see in some like New Age type churches and other stuff. So it's not just paranormal investigators that do this type of tactic. It's all over the place. And so many people use this type of tactic. So anyways.
Can you step away from that? Thank you.
What is the thing on the ground I keep seeing? You keep showing me yourself. It's like crawling on the ground.
Crawling.
Or that's how it's showing me itself. What are you?
Do you even want to know?
I get that same disoriented feeling standing here, and it dissipates when I walk away from it.
So don't stand there. I'm sorry for being brutal, but don't stand there.
Who do you see? Do you hear that? It sounds like a moan. Oh my god.
Did you guys notice something about the REM pod? Did you notice that it has a one? It basically starting to have a pattern, right? So it seems as though something is actually interfering with it. It's just an observation. You know, whether you believe that it's real or whether you believe like how I believe that it's something that is a byproduct of something else. But yeah, it's starting to have a pattern. So listen closely for the rest of this video on that.
Don't look at me, yeah? Or don't laugh at me?
No, we're not here to make fun of you in any way. We're just
Sorry.
here to prove to everyone that you're here, pretty much. We just want everyone to know that you're around still.
So we do come with nothing but respect. We would love to know the stories of all of the energy that resides
And there it is again, folks.
in this museum. So I'm getting like a sharp pain in my skull. Did you feel that before or no?
Yeah, it was when I was over here. It was on my left side of my head.
Yeah, mine's over here on the left.
Okay. Why does that matter? Why does that matter at all, in fact? I get it. But let me explain something that could be a potential possibility for that. So there is something that happens when, and it's mainly like rooms like this, where there's a lot of like lights and different things plugged in all over the room, and the room is just generally congested. It's called a fear cage, and what it does is basically, this is why I don't really believe the REM pod is actually like proving anything, because you can create this type of a feeling very easily. A lot of basements have it with like pipes and electricity, exposed wires, all that type of stuff. And what it does is it basically can cause nausea, headaches, sometimes vomiting, sick to your stomach, acting a certain way that isn't normal. So it could be just the fact that they're in a fear cage. It doesn't really prove necessarily that it's paranormal, but they could technically be, what's called a fear cage. That's one of the terms that they use, which again, none of the YouTubers that do any of these ghost shows actually talk about a fear cage, but it is a real phenomenon. It is a real thing that happens.
So Kelsey psychically drew something manifesting that she saw before. We're going to show you in just a minute. So this makes us mad. So this is what Kelsey drew earlier.
This is what I was referring to earlier, guys. This is automatic writing or automatic drawing. It is not. Basically, she's using herself as a vessel and allowing something to communicate through her, not even really fully knowing what it is that's communicating with her. So, again, like, this is one of those situations where it's not necessarily something that can be proven as fact, but a lot of people that are supposed quote psychic mediums are able to do this. Back when I was still an occultist, I did automatic writing. My wife actually came across it several years ago and is like, "What is this?" So then I had to explain, when I was an occultist, as to what that meant. But yeah, rear on the side of caution. Anybody that thinks that this is a good idea, just rear on the side of caution. Know that this is essentially necromancy, where you're allowing certain things to communicate through you. Again, this is not a Christian philosophy or a philosophy that can actually prove anything. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. So
She was just seeing the energy radiating off of this woman.
again, energy.
And to her, it looked like this woman was what, deformed?
A little bit disfigured.
Disfigured and deformed, and this is her energy. It's not like
And there it is again. Energy.
the best energy, right? But it's not
Again,
necessarily bad.
energy.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Yeah, there was just a lot of this weird, almost chaotic energy around her. I couldn't really figure it out.
Wow, that's 5 times in less than a minute.
Are we communicating with the woman?
Are you noticing the pattern by this point? You should be. That REM pod is literally just proving that there is some type of electricity or some type of frequency that is close to it. Again, not proving that anything is communicating with them directly.
Okay, I think she's confirming she's in that corner that I was saying she was earlier. Left, to the left. Okay. Thank you.
Can you guys step away from
Oh, that noise is
whoever
annoying.
is with the REM pod, step away from it. Oh, the bell just went off. So we have a couple different things coming through it. Now
Can
we
you
have our
step
REM
away,
pod
please?
and the
Thank you.
bell. Thank you.
The bell is just another EMF device, guys. All it does is basically there's a sensor that's linked to somehow hit the bell. If I can afford to get one, the next couple of months I'll get one, and basically Cleveland and I can take it apart and show you guys how. Again, it can't be determined scientifically, especially if there's that much stuff in the room. And that much stuff that they have electricity going through, because again, they haven't shut off the power. They haven't shut anything off. Everything is still plugged in. So, believe what you want in that. But for me, it's pretty definitive that, yeah, there is something that is allowing those sensors to go off, but more than likely it's not anything paranormal.
So the REM pod is detecting an electromagnetic frequency shift in the
There you go.
environment, and something just manually was able to press that bell.
That's not how it works, but okay.
That's what you guys heard. Pray the Lord.
Is that what you guys heard? Because that's not what I heard.
Message?
Are you able to tell us anything about you, this woman that I keep seeing?
Whenever
Again,
you mention
pattern.
the
Do you see it
woman,
go off?
The REM pod goes off. Can the woman come through for us on this device in my hands?
Her skin's burned. That's why she's disfigured. She's showing me her arm with a bunch of burn marks. Let me turn that just so I can. Oh my god.
I know.
Oh my god, look. Look. Oh my god. It's going crazy.
right now.
Again, there is a light bulb, open light bulb, and LED rope lights that are literally within a couple of feet away from the sensor. I can't determine that's paranormal at this point. They can't either, but they're not going to say that.
Oh my god. Something is really coming through strong.
Whoa.
We saw you. Can you tell us
No,
who
they
that
didn't.
is?
It's her.
You think it's her?
Yeah. We're both going to take a deep breath in. And close your eyes. Okay. Take a deep breath in through your nose. And out.
All right, I'm going to fast forward a little bit, guys, because
Maybe.
what was her name?
you basically you guys pretty much got a lot of what was going on in this. So I'm going to fast forward a little bit.
We're getting a lot of different things coming through. Thank you for coming through to us.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming through to us.
Does anyone else want to come forward?
Again, same terminology as before.
Anything else?
Honestly, the shadow doll is probably the creepiest thing in here, other than, or the most intense, I should say, other than the Annabell doll.
Yeah, definitely, like, energy-wise, it's just...
Oh, there it is again.
But then again, the masks that are behind us were used in sacrificial rituals.
They have no evidence of that whatsoever. They're literally Halloween masks. If you look at them, you literally can find them in any Halloween store, with the exception of maybe one because it looks like it's custom made. But I have seen those masks before. There is no evidence to point that there was any type of sacrificial thing that was used with those. And again, it's hearsay. Anything attached to Ed Lorraine Warren, they twist truth and they manipulate the truth to, again, control the narrative. So whether or not it was in a sacrificial event or not, that's not the point. The point is that they go on and keep talking about this for like the next 20 minutes. So with that being said, I'll try to let this part of it play for a few minutes, but don't be surprised if it's just repeating itself over and over again.
They would put them over their faces and scare children, and then immediately slice the throat of... Hearsay. It's really bad if it did happen, but again, there would be blood residue on those masks. So go down to the police station, do as I said when we were talking about the sword and the dagger, and see if there's actual blood residue that is still on those masks. If it is, it's a murder, guys. Okay, so again, like, why would you try to control this narrative and say that, oh yeah, this was used for sacrificial things by killing children? It's like, what? Like, if it was really used in those events, and I'm getting a little fired up right now. I gotta step back because I'm gonna start to get spasms here in a second. But if it was actually used in that event, like I said, why on earth would you want it? Okay, that is literally something that could be used in evidence in a murder. So, again, that's why I'm saying that it probably isn't linked to that. They probably just wanted to spook people out. And so they got a couple of Halloween masks and said this crazy story just so people would come to their museum. You know, like, if you really think about that if these were used the way that they're claiming that they were used, they should have some residual blood aspect on it from blood spatter. Even if the blood was cleaned off, they would still have some type of blood residue on it. So, okay. No. I don't believe for a second. Sorry. I don't. Said child and drain the blood and ingest the blood because it would give them power and energy.
One, she said energy again. And two, okay, is that not the same narrative that guy already created for them? And they're just, again, like, I'm just proving my point here that they're just regurgitating the narrative that he started. There's no evidence to it, and if there was evidence, they would be actually used as evidence in a murder, okay? Just saying.
And they believe that the adrenaline from the children allowed them to see into other dimensions, and that's what you see behind me. Let me see. See, that's what I was thinking, some sort of sacrificial ritual when you said that with the hook.
Okay, so they're going to spend the next probably 5 or 10 minutes or so talking about this little sketch that the other woman made. Again, she's supposed to be seeing visions and stuff like that and writing down, so she's doing a form of automatic writing. What she said, because I kind of skipped over that, is that apparently there was some type of hook going through the back of the neck of this girl. Then they said, oh, well, it's got to be something sacrificial. Okay, well, they already started hearing that narrative when they first got into the facility within the first 15 minutes. So, however, I will say this before we get back, to this video. Just bear with me for a second, guys. So, there is an exhibitionists out there that actually do, in fact, get piercings on their back. And they literally have wires connected to those. And basically, like, swing around with giant hooks in their back. Like, it's a thing. It's a very, very extreme lifestyle. I actually know 1 or 2 people that have done it. But yeah, it is a thing. So I don't think that's obviously related to what they're trying to say, but that is a thing. So take that how you want, I guess.
Because it looks kind of little. I'm just trying to draw what I see the best way I can. It's not great.
We are sitting right by the masks, and as soon as you said a hook in the neck, I said sacrifice. I think it had something to do with that, if that's what you're seeing. Now, we don't know
I'm not sure.
what.
You don't know, but yet you're trying to do a narrative that's making you sound like you know. So which is it? Do you know or do you not know? Please be straight with us, as an audience. Do you know or do you not know? Okay. And now you've wasted another 5 minutes of my time saying this whole entire story several times, and now coming to the conclusion that, well, we don't know for sure. Okay, well, that's not what your narrative said. So, again, which is it?
Exactly happened during these sacrifices.
Almost like they're I just keep reminding of a fish getting hooked, but it's this big, but that's so weird.
Yeah, let us know in the comments if that's a thing, like a hook in the back of the neck. I don't know. I kind of want to put on the ghost tube box.
It is a thing, as I explained, but it's people that are into exhibitionism. We my wife and I, you guys know, we both have tattoos. We've been around that world before. And we have a couple of people that we have met in the past that have done that type of exhibitionist where they put hooks in their back, literally swing around like they're on a swing. Why they do it, I have no idea, but it's probably for the same reason that people get tattoos and piercings. It's a thing, but not relevant to their story.
Again, I think that the fire is pretty telling.
That was very, very just direct.
Why did that sound like a little kid?
It did. What is this I drew? Are you able to show or tell us?
What was that? That was like a man's voice in here. Kind of sound like he was going, ha! Let us know if you guys heard that.
I heard something, but that's not what I heard. I just heard a random noise.
Are you able to tell me what any of my drawings mean? We have this one.
So Kelsey saw what looked like a gun earlier.
Yeah, being held straight. Whoa. This is a gun.
Was there someone that was shot that's attached to one of these objects? There's a skull in the corner. It's somebody
Unalived themselves,
unalived
but we're not
themselves.
sure how.
But there is a big hole in the side of their skull.
And we have this. Can you tell me who this is? Can you give us a name?
Wouldn't that be crazy if it said Ruby?
So they go on doing this for a couple more minutes, guys. It's not really irrelevant to watch. So I'm gonna skip forward again a little bit. I'll go to right about here. And I think this is when they start talking about the little T-Rex behind them. And I'm gonna have to basically correct every single thing that they say. So I'll wait until they're done with talking about this before I actually interject.
Is the kid who was possessed by this dinosaur, and what did he do?
I guess he was possessed, and then this other guy who was David's sister's boyfriend, he was like, yo, possess me instead. And so then I guess he went and killed someone, and in court was like, the dinosaur made me do it, right?
This is one of the first.
Who is she?
Whoa, that scared the shit out of
me.
me. So this was one of the first documented court cases that brought up any sort of demonic possession.
Well, he said he
paranormal
was more
activity.
like, I was possessed and a demon made me do it. He didn't say the dinosaur made me. I was just joking. But no,
that was a joke.
Thing.
But basically, in court, he did say that he was possessed, and whatever took over him from this toy made him kill. I said other side.
What about the other side? I would like to learn more about this dinosaur, and if anyone wants to come forward, I don't know if it's still with this, because I know they blessed it, they did all these things to get rid of
There's also rosary beads that are all inside of the case that Dan built.
And there's no glass, so I'm like, maybe they did exercise it and stuff, but maybe there's someone here, an entity here that knows something about it that can come and give us some information. That would be great.
Yeah, can someone come through for us? Because there's a lot of really strong, intense energy in this museum.
All right, so I'll stop there. This energy again. Like I said, guys, it's like a drinking game. How many times they say that in this? I don't think it's necessary. It doesn't really prove their point. But let's get on to this little section right here. So, with this being said, the dinosaur that you guys see was a case that the Warrens basically kind of were supposedly contacted to. But there's a documentary, actually, on this, on Netflix, and it's called The Devil Made Me Do It. It's a detailed description of every single person in that family, and the person who actually did 20 years in prison for killing a man, and he basically said, I don't remember, and claimed that the devil made him do it. This was actually the first case in the U.S., because it was in the 70s. There was several after that that actually took place. Of course, those are never talked about. But so it has nothing to do with that T-Rex. They just decided to take that T-Rex doll for whatever reason. It has nothing to do with that. The boy that they're referring to, I think his name is like Dave or something like that. I can't remember. He had issues with depression. He had anxiety, at a young age, and was saying that he was pretty reserved according to the documentary, and his personality started changing at a certain like within a year of them moving into this place, and there was an exorcism that took place that somehow the Warrens got involved with, but he was actually not certified as an exorcist within the church whatsoever. He was a self-proclaimed demonologist. And one thing about the theology of the Warrens was if you were outside of the Catholic belief system, they basically said that you could get possessed by a demon. So in other words, myself and every other Baptist that we know could be possessed by demons. But in fact, that's not even close to actual doctrinal theology in the Bible, okay? That's not even close. They were extremists, and I could go on about that, but everything that they said basically is wrong according to the documentary. And we have watched that documentary. It's very sad how the family was treated and everything that took place. But nothing that they said about this T-Rex has anything to do with the actual story. In fact, the T-Rex isn't even mentioned in the story. So just watch the documentary if you guys want to know about the real story behind this. It's called The Devil Made Me Do It. Again, it was the first case that I know of in the U.S. to where somebody tried to do that. Obviously, there was a serial killer a couple of years later that made the same statement, which was Ramirez, Night Stalker. And there was another case somewhere else in the United States that basically did the same thing. But he didn't get away with it. He did 20 years in prison. He claims the whole time that he didn't know what was going on, but he killed his boss in cold blood. So his boss basically was like in the upstairs, I think there was like 2 apartments in this building, and then the company that his boss ran was below or something along the lines of that. He essentially went up to his landlord / boss and executed him. And then started to walk away, and supposedly he was going for the son that was being affected, basically saying that he was going to be next. So again, take that how you want it, but watch the documentary. Don't listen to these two's narratives on that story. It's just all wrong. Okay, I'm gonna try to keep my mouth shut for a little bit.
The link to the Spirit Box app that we're using is down below in the description. It's available for iPhone and Android. Just use responsibly. We're going to use a couple different apps. I have Spirit app.
Again, if you guys have watched any of our other videos related to anything paranormal about these apps, they're easily manipulated, and the way that they work is just not how they're using them. So I'm not going to say much more about that. You guys can go back and watch that video if you'd like. We'll try to put that video up on the screen or in the description.
Ooh. Can someone come through? Help.
Can you tell us if there's anything still attached to this dinosaur toy?
Listen for my voice.
Listen for my voice.
Shocking.
Tell us the story of this object.
As I just said, there is no story to the object.
Why? Someone is.
I'm only a child.
Oh. It's me. It goes, it's me. Who is this?
David Glatzer was the child involved with this dinosaur.
Still alive, guys. The guy who was in that, he's still alive. I believe he's in his 60s. So anything that they just said, do not pay attention to. Because the guy is still alive. Watch the documentary.
He's here.
Wait, is he still alive or did he?
No, I don't think he's alive.
He might be alive. I don't know.
We are sitting by the masks that they used to sacrifice children.
Do I really have to go and say this again? They're Halloween masks. And again, if they did, supposedly, what they did with those masks, they would be evidence to a murder. Why are they still talking about it?
Who? Can you tell us your
I had a
name?
long life.
Wait, are you in here? Oh, Chris. How old is this dinosaur toy? Do you know if David Glasso is still alive?
Someone's trying to come through.
Trickery. That's what we were warned about before even entering into this museum.
Yeah, that's kind of what demons do. They try to trick, deceive people and doing false narratives. But you guys are already doing that enough, so again, here we are.
Bill.
Dan says,
It's just Bill, guys. We're fine.
Bill literally
Bill Nye, the
said,
science guy.
Bill.
Okay, here's just a thing. This is a huge pet peeve of mine. All right, so if you are getting paid, okay, in some capacity, to use devices and use all these different things and go to a location, and this location, regardless if it's silly location or not, I expect, as a viewer, for you to not act like a doofus. I expect professionalism. How they are acting is not professional. And again, like, this is not just them, so this is, the people that created this video and everybody involved, please don't come at me and say that, I'm calling you stupid or dumb or anything like that. It's just, look, professionalism matters, and if you're going to go to a place, okay, I expect professionalism. I expect you to act a certain way. And if I see you're acting like this, I'm basically going to stop listening. I don't know if that's just me, but it's a huge pet peeve of mine. Lydia knows this. She's seen me do this multiple times. I'm extremely professional if I was ever asked to do something like this. But even if I was asked, I would turn it down because it's not necessary. None of this is necessary if you actually have a foundation in scripture. So, just wanted to point that out, say how it's a pet peeve of mine. This isn't the first time that they're going to act like this. This is definitely not the last. And again, like, there's other investigators that are even worse. They basically joke around the whole entire time and then wonder why they didn't actually get any actual evidence. It's like, okay, well, you're not really taking it seriously, so why should I take you seriously? Again, back to the video.
Bill.
He just comes in. Sorry, what did you say?
Well, I was saying that they are masters of trickery, and they will trick you into believing that you are communicating with a child. And
That's nothing new. Nothing new is under the sun. They've been doing that since the biblical times. In fact, there are certain things in Scripture that would actually lead me to believe that that's probably true. In my background, my experience with occultism and with doing this for as long as I have, these paranormal things, yeah, that's not unknown information. They do trick you. they use the innocence of a child to basically try to infiltrate sometimes. It's not always the case, but usually, generally speaking, they show their true self pretty quickly.
It said on here, I had a long life, I'm only a child.
You're presenting yourself as a little boy. Are you with this dino or something else in here?
Alright, I'm going to fast forward a little bit, guys, because they just keep talking about this dinosaur, and it's basically just ridiculous at this point. And now at this point I'm getting slightly annoyed. So we're going to basically... They do this a bunch more. They go and talk about the Annabell doll. So let's go towards the end of the video to where they're actually talking to Annabell. That is right about here, give or take. So we're gonna pick it up right here, and then we're gonna pretty much end the video. So have you guys listen to this for a little bit.
Yeah, that's where he died. What?
Okay, so they're doing an experiment right now to where one person is blindfolded and the other person gets an audio from the spirit box. I forget what they actually call it, but again, this isn't scientific in any way. One person gets a response, the other person asks the question. Take that how you want it. This isn't the first time we'll see this, but for time's sake, I just kind of skipped over a lot of what they're doing because, again, it's the same thing over and over and over again. So,
Who?
Who's showing Kris Star?
Bullet to the heart. Ow, it really hurts.
What does this have to do with Annabell?
Killed him.
Did you make him do that? Or did you make someone...
Ow, why does this hurt so bad?
alright, so for context, she's saying that she's getting like a stabbing pain in the center of her back, and then it mysteriously goes away. How that's relevant to what they're doing, I have no idea, but that's what she says.
Did you
Bullet.
make someone do that to someone?
I'm sweating. I don't like sitting here. Oof.
Are you making Kris feel hot?
Like really uncomfortable. 10. Come close.
What will happen if we open the case?
Disaster.
The crime?
Won't get home.
Okay, so again, like they do this for like another like 15, almost 20 minutes. Let me kind of fast forward a little bit to about here. They're going to show a picture of something that this like medium drew, basically saying that this is what she thinks that it is. So again, take this how you guys want it, but for me, it's not really evidence.
Oh no, so Kelsey drew what Annabell showed her that it looks like. I'm kind of nervous. Is
Supposedly.
this like what it manifests? Like its actual
Showed
form?
me it. I mean, I probably drew it in a way that it looks a lot cuter than...
This is what Kelsey saw Annabell describe itself as. That's weird.
These are horns, though.
So an angry cat? Yeah. Looks like an angry cat to me.
I kind of made it look like a dog.
Well, it's not cute regardless. It looks like a demonic dog, if anything. Oh, that's what I felt with your session too. Like the rain came in and was protecting you. At one point, I actually thought that something was trying to take over Kelsey.
All right. So what they're trying to say is that the one chick that's a Kelsey. Sorry, I keep forgetting their names. Kelsey basically is saying that, you know, she was allowing one of these demonic entities of some kind to let them come in, and essentially for her to be able to do any type of automatic writing, that's essentially what has to take place, is the fact that she has to open up her mind and basically lower her sensors, basically, and allow something to come in and essentially talk through her. which is okay, whatever. I used to do this stuff. That is technically how you would go about doing it. But again, like, be very careful when you guys are trying to understand exactly how this works, because I don't think one person explains it the same way as another person. Like, this is one of those things that are done within the occultic paranormal world that is never the same. So again, like, she's just drawing pictures. There's other people that actually write down stuff in a notebook. And maybe I'll go to one of those videos and basically try to explain that and show, like, play by play how they're doing that. But yeah, so now they're saying towards the end of this that both Ed and Lorraine Warren were speaking to them. Okay, well, if that's the case, then they were never truly believers to begin with. Because if you truly believe in Jesus Christ and you truly believe in the gospel, then you would understand that the whole idea of coming back or staying here, it just simply doesn't make sense. So as Christians, we believe that when we die and we pass on to the next life, if we're believers in Christ, we truly believe in Christ, we truly believe in every aspect of the Bible, we truly believe in the actual theology and philosophy coming from the Bible, then we believe that there's no questions asked. You will be in the celestial city. Celestial city is a old historical church terminology, basically meaning that, you know, we would be in heaven. And if you don't believe that, or your theology does not match up with Scripture, then there's only one other option. It's hell. So again, like, do I believe that there are spirits? Yes. Do I believe that they're necessarily human? No. I will try to go into that eventually. I think with our podcast, I'm starting to go into that. We've been working up towards stuff, but that's essentially what she's saying in this particular spot. So we only have a couple more minutes, so let me start this video back up, and kind of you guys can kind of see what they do with this information of saying that Ed and Lorraine Warren are just directly speaking to them.
T's body, which is why I kept saying you were not to interfere.
I felt that, but I was kind of letting it because I just was curious.
I would not be letting that while you're sitting next to.
You can't be a Christian and do what she's doing. Okay, they're not the same. They can't be the same. So if you're dealing with the occults like this, to me, you're just revealing your whole entire worldview when you say things like this. But nevertheless, I mean, like, if she's saying that she supposedly had a spirit that was talking through her, then okay, I guess she had a spirit talking through her. But again, like, she can't claim any aspect of Christianity. Also, they're going to talk about some aspect of light in this particular segment, I believe, or maybe they've already said it. But those in the dark cannot be into the light without Christ. Jesus literally represents all light. And where do we get this from? John chapter 1, verse 5. The darkness cannot comprehend light. Okay? So when they say that, oh, our energy is light, no, it's not. If you are outside of the Christian worldview, then you are in darkness, period. There is no ifs, ands, or buts to that. So if you're saying that your energy is light, well, then you're literally lying to yourself, using a false doctrine and essentially creating a false reality with that. So again, like, that loses all credibility when you say something like that if you're outside of the Christian worldview.
Annabell, Kelsey.
Well, I was curious.
You not with Annabell. Not with Annabell, Kelsey. No. So we were planning on opening the Annabell case, but plans have changed, like Kelsey said. This is called the haunted passageway that we're in right now. This actually used to lead to Ed and Lorraine Warren's
Yeah, we know that already.
room, our living space, which we actually got a tour of earlier, which was so beautiful. This scared the crap out of Kelsey before, like, this is what would scare me. Ooh, why's it blinking like that?
That he was like a vampire.
There was a vampire that would sleep in this coffin.
Like,
Really? Now they're trying to say that vampires stayed in that facility too? Okay. Funny enough, I recently just did a podcast on vampires and werewolves. If you want to know more, check that out too.
Every night.
Yeah. And
I
true
just don't
vampiric
no
style.
judgment. I don't understand it. It's a lifestyle. I don't think.
Okay, so you say that you don't understand it, but yet you're believing the story of the mass, that they supposedly wore these masks in some type of a ritual sacrifice. So you're even being inconsistent with your own worldview. Okay, if you believe in one thing that's occultic, you have to believe in all things that are occultic. You have to be consistent throughout. So if you're disagreeing with the fact of any aspect of a vampire, any aspect of the occult, guess what? You have to come into my worldview, baby. That's right. You have to come into the Christian worldview to verify anything that is actually based on reality. So, with that said, where do we go from here? So I'll finish this video out, and then we'll wrap it up. So
I can
They drink
do.
blood.
See,
too,
yeah,
Kelsey.
you know, I'm lactose intolerant, and I don't think blood would do well either.
I had to go and charge my battery again because something is clearly draining the crap out of my battery.
yeah, it's called You've Been Constantly Filming for over an hour, and that's what it does, especially if it goes from hot to cold, hot to cold. Quite literally, on Monday, Lydia and I took a trip to, and that video will be out on Saturday. But what we did is we took a trip to Lane Motor Museum. Really, really cool place in Nashville. Guys, check it out. I highly recommend it. So all of our camera gear was sitting in the car. And so we had gotten breakfast first, and we kind of, moseyed our way over there. So by the time we got to the museum, guess what? The battery was dead inside the camera. So we had to change out the battery. Okay, well, when something goes from hot to cold, guess what? It's probably going to change it, it's probably going to drain your battery. Again, nothing paranormal here.
I switched my camera from autofocus to manual focus while I was trying to show the Annabell drawing.
You probably pushed the wrong button, hon. I've done that before. Yeah, that's, again, not paranormal. That's just you pushing a button probably on your camera and you didn't know it.
So we have the Necrometer app going right now. You hear footsteps? I don't know if I hear footsteps or what that is. There's movement back
That
there.
sounded like footsteps, but
There's always movement, guys. Every single person that does these types of videos, they always say there's movement all the way around them. Look, there might be, there might not be. But what I do know is that if a building is old or whether it's new, it's going to settle. That is something that is proven, okay? So any movement that you're going to hear could literally just be the building settling in some capacity. So again, like, if I actually saw what you were talking about and heard it, I think I would maybe be less critical right now, but we never hear it. So, and we never see what's happening. They just say, oh, well, there's something over there on the other side of the camera. I could point there and be like, oh, there's something over there. Yeah, there is something over there. Lydia's sitting at her desk over there. But again, that's not really relevant to anything that you're trying to say here. So pick and choose your words wisely.
but no one's. What is that?
Yeah, so we are now in the haunted passageway. I don't
You've
know.
said that
It might
already.
be one of them
Move on.
upstairs. I'm not too sure. It could be, right? But it's not like footsteps. I don't know how to describe it. It's not quite like footsteps. I want to know what's in this passageway.
Me too.
Like what's the energy that's here?
Oh, guys, we're almost done, but like, they're wearing me out with this whole energy thing. I mean, like I said, if this was a drinking game, I'd already be drunk and passed out by now.
Can you come forward for us? I know I'm not feeling too much, but they said that it's pretty active in here. But before, when I was in here by myself filming some vertical videos, I heard footsteps. I thought you were in here with me, but in here, not coming from above.
Right. Doesn't mean things aren't here. I just don't feel it right now. But
I don't feel too much either.
what did you think about us talking with Annabell? Do you guys like her? What's the tea? I don't know what they think of her. If they just think she's a bully.
Should we open Annabelle's case?
I mean, it was unlocked earlier. How do we know that you didn't unlock it again before you were the guys that unlocked it from the jump street? How do we know that? We don't. So I don't know why they're going back and forth about opening up the case to Annabell, because it's already been proven that it doesn't actually do it, because the dude that was in there earlier touched the case. Okay, so make up your own minds about that, because I don't buy it.
The bell went off out there. Is that like a yes? But it said we wouldn't make it home if we did.
Let's be honest here.
Yeah, oh my god. Okay, Annabelle, we get the picture.
Or maybe she has like someone working for her because she's stuck in that case.
She probably
what if she like orders other.
I'm just going to say this, guys. Use your words rightly. Look, if you can't come up to a conclusion, don't keep talking. Okay? Make your words and your sentences be intentional and make them matter. Now they're changing their narrative again for like the third or fourth time on the same topic that they've been trying to drill into our heads literally since the first 15 minutes of this video. I mean, what do y'all want me to say about this? I mean, all right, couple more minutes and then we'll be done here.
I don't know how it works either, but they were saying that there's entities here that taunt and control the other spirits.
Right, so what if Annabelle's like the leader?
She's the ringleader. She has to be. No, that's not what it said. I'm just saying. I keep saying she, but it's really an it if you think about it.
The bell ring.
The bell keeps ringing.
Is Annabell like the queen of this place?
Should run. Is that what that said?
Can you do something to make us run?
Can you scare us?
Again, why would you go to a haunted location and say these type of things, and then when they happen, when they actually happen, you run out of the room or you run out of the place kicking and screaming and making a fuss when you're literally sitting there and asking them to do something? Why? Why would you do that? Why would anybody that has any type of common sense literally challenge a spirit of any kind, okay, and say, I want you to do this, and then when they do it, they're so shocked and they run out of the building? Why? That is literally your job that you're trying to say right now. It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense.
I want to get scared. I want to scream. It's very rare.
Why? What does it prove?
Like Can you make me scream? This one is so kinky. Oh.
That's our alarm. It's bedtime.
Make me scream, Daddy.
Oh,
Wait, I'm sorry. I don't know if they're...
I can't believe I have to say this for a second time. Guys, if you're going to do this, be professional. That's not professional.
I got carried away. I'm sorry.
Bad, Kelsey.
It was a bad joke. I'm sorry.
Kelsey's bad. Don't cut out of the video. Before, I'm telling you, like, I thought you were in here with me, but you weren't. And it was coming from inside. You can tell the difference between, like, a sound that's coming from outside and something inside.
Well, according to you, you can't, because even if it was outside the building, you would have said that it was inside the building based off of everything that you've said at this point.
Inside.
Right. What was in here earlier? For who? I wonder if it was one of them.
Oh, like at War of the Rain. Yeah, very possible.
Like a residual? If they would walk through here, maybe you were hearing. I don't know.
Ed came down here a lot.
Again, that's another paranormal word, residual. I'm not going to go too much into it right now, but I'll say that it's a paranormal, like, trigger word. Maybe we'll start being like Chris Roseborough for Fighting for the Faith and start playing ghost hunting bingo and, like, start telling you guys all about, you know, the trigger words that are within the paranormal world. Sorry, it just, some of these phrases that they use and some of the words just, it boggles my mind that they say them so many times, because they're trying to literally drive their narrative into your head, and they try to prove that all of this is real when most of the time they're just making up a narrative.
To do his meetings. And Ed kept coming through for me a lot.
Yeah, he
Supposedly.
did.
The rain came through for you a lot.
I think
Supposedly.
she saw what I was doing too, and she did more of that, didn't she? I was like,
Yeah, she would scribe and paint. I mean, they both painted.
Okay, if she was a scribe, if she was using psychic mediums, I'm pretty sure if you're a Christian, I believe the Bible refutes that and basically calls it does call it, the one true God Yahweh refers to it as an abomination, okay? So if something is an abomination, that means that there's no aspect of it whatsoever that God is going to approve of, let alone allow the person outside of Christ to have any aspect of salvation. How do we know that? Well, because Saul did it. How do we know that? Because we have multiple different people throughout Scripture that have tried this very thing, and it did not end well with them. Meaning, God gave in to their desires. So, if they're asking for something like this, God can and will give in to their desires if they keep walking away and not focusing on the gospel throughout these types of things. So, again, it's all about the gospel, guys. It's every aspect of this can be. We have a category for it. We can prove and disprove it. So, yeah, that's why I believe in Christian apologetics and Christian philosophy, because it gives me a foundation to be able to understand a lot of this stuff.
But I didn't know she would scribe, I think.
it's like nothing.
Alright, we're gonna do one final walkthrough. My light is still dead, so you guys are gonna have to bear with me. Ooh, I just walked into something Kelsey did too. Any final words from Annabell? We're right.
Alright, guys, so I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Appreciate you guys watching my first reaction video here. And again, like I said, I'm not trying to discredit them personally, but you also have to understand, like, if you're going to do these types of things and you're messing with people's belief systems and constantly changing a narrative, you have to realize that eventually that's going to catch up with you. And for those that create false narratives, for those people that trying to teach or trying to prove something, okay, there is a certain judgment that is going to be higher for those people. So if I'm trying to teach you apologetics, right, if I'm trying to teach you different principles of theology, then that means that my judgment's going to be higher than a person that doesn't. That's just what Scripture says. So this is why I'm trying to show you guys the truth and kind of expose like these different practices and different things that they do, and hopefully it's helpful for all of you guys that are out there, because again, this is super important, that so many of these YouTubers, and I'm surprised, like I've been out of the game, the paranormal game, for a long time now, at least 7 or 8 years, and I was shocked recently when I was requested to do these types of videos as well, on how many channels do it. Now, there's some guys that I like to watch just because they don't claim to be paranormal investigators. They just claim to be thrill seekers, and like the way that they do it, look, that's just the way that they are, okay? And they're funny about it. They're sarcastic like I am. So I don't really have a problem with anybody wanting to do this. What I have a problem with is the false narratives. What I have a problem with is you pushing your own philosophy on another person. There is 2 guys, and I'll try to find this video because I really want to cover this one as well. There's 2 guys, they're both from the UK, and they were going to abandoned locations. All they said is, hey, we're going to go to this location and we're going to see what happens. They did not give you any type of presupposition. They didn't give you any type of narrative. And at the end of the video, they said, look, if you see it as evidence, great. But we can't prove or disprove anything. That is what you should be hearing and listening for. Not this false narrative stuff. Because again, like if you want to know about a literal documentary, okay, there's a literal documentary that's about The Devil Made Me Do It. And all they would have had to do is just watch that documentary. That's all they would have had to do. And I would have been totally fine with it. But the fact that they kept repeating themselves over and over and over, trying to say, oh, well, there's energy here, there's energy that. It's all nonsense. You know, all you're doing is using your emotional response to try to say something is actually true when it's not. I can do that. Lydia can do that. Anybody can do that. Because, again, you're using your emotions to try to describe something that's actually happening. You're not actually using cold hard facts to actually prove anything. So again, like this isn't a personal attack on Kris. So in fact, I hope you actually watch this video and actually see what people like me are saying. The guys and girls out there that are trying to debunk this stuff, but also taking an actual philosophy to it and actually showing a person how they actually respond to the different things that you do in your videos. So if you guys like this and you guys want more of this, tell me in the comments, like, share, subscribe, and we'll try to, like I said, we'll try to do this about once a week. If this type of video is something that you guys want to have more often, I'll try to do that. But again, like our channel, this is kind of a secondary thing that we're doing on the channel. But with that being said, more than happy to do more. Just let me know what you guys want to see, or if there's any specific ghost hunters you'd like me to break down, be more than happy to do it. Some of them won't take this long, but there was just a lot in this video. And again, like, I think she's being genuine. I think she's genuinely believes her own philosophy. But the problem is that when you try to force that philosophy on another person, and that's where a false narrative comes in. They literally changed their narrative about 4 or 5 times throughout this video. And when you start acting unprofessional on top of that, most people are not going to respond well. So you're not really helping when those types of things happen. So, like I said, like, share, subscribe. If you want to see more of these types of videos, let us know in the comments below. And we will see you next time. Check you guys later.